Hey everyone, it's George from Blockchain DXB and today is the 5th of September 2024. Now the prices of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies guys are definitely not looking good. And what happened since the last 24 hours, the prices of Bitcoin in particular did marginally go down and it did go down below the $58,000 mark as well. But looks like the prices are pumped up. Now the only reason why this thing is happening guys is there's a lot of economic data that has been released and there are different reports that are released on Tuesdays, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday. Now, because the Crypto and Coffee at 8 podcast works only Monday to Thursdays, I will go ahead and discuss what is the report that is published yesterday, and I'll also go ahead and discuss what kind of an impact does it have on the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So the report that was published on the 4th of September, guys, was the US trade in goods and services for July, and this data, guys, was released by the US Census Bureau as well as the US Bureau of Economic Analysis, and this report, guys, talks about the deficit, exports and imports, so I'll definitely go ahead and give out more information regarding that, and I'll also go ahead and discuss what kind of an impact does it have on the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Now in the world of cryptocurrency guys, we do have some really interesting news, and this is to do with Uniswap, and what happened is that the CFTC, that is US Commodity Futures Trading, they fined Uniswap Labs for $175,000 and they were actually alleging that Uniswap was offering illegal leverage or marginal rate commodity transactions in the digital asset. Now what has happened guys is Uniswap has decided to go ahead and close the case and they have gone ahead and paid the fees as well. But from a legal point of view guys, it's important to note that Uniswap Labs, they are neither admitting nor denying these allegations, but at least the good thing is that the chapter is closed, isn't it? So I'll go ahead and give out more information regarding this. Now, unfortunately, guys, regarding Ethereum, we have quite a lot of negative news. The first one is regarding the Ethereum ETF outflows, and the numbers are definitely not looking good for first month. So I'll go ahead and give out more information regarding this. Now, the second news, guys, is to do with Layer 1 blockchain, and there is an interesting report that has been published that talks about Bitcoin, Ethereum, as well as Solana. The metrics are definitely not looking good since the last month. So I'll definitely go ahead and touch base on that. Now on a positive note guys, we do have some really interesting news from Switzerland, and Switzerland's fourth largest bank, they now offer Bitcoin and Ethereum trading and custody service. So I'll go ahead and give out more information regarding this. Now look guys, there are two ways of looking at it. It's great that the banking industry are offering Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies as a service, but they are offering custody as a service, and if you actually read through the second line of Bitcoin's white paper guys, it talks that the main benefits are lost if a central intermediary or entity is required to prevent double spending. Now technically these banks can't double spend, but they are in control over your custody, and that I believe is a negative part, isn't it? But I'll definitely go ahead and share what this news is all about. Now finally guys, we'll go ahead and talk some news regarding India, and this is to do with Metaverse. Now the big question is Metaverse dead? Really, I'm not sure how to answer this, but Sandbox, they have published a really weird matrix, and they are actually stating that India's leading so far as creator platform is concerned. Now look guys, the number that they have shared might be a bit misleading because they have compared the number of creators with that of India versus United States of America. Looks like they have not taken into consideration the people residing in this country, isn't it? So I'll go ahead and share my thoughts and opinion on it. So quite a lot to cover guys in today's episode. And like we do in every Crypto and Coffee Date series, we will be looking at two news from Dubai, UAE and the Middle East. Now the first news guys is connected to Saudi Arabia, and Exotel, they are floating a new local cloud for CX and AI solutions, so I'll go ahead and give out more information regarding this. Now the second news guys is a massive news, and this is a partnership between Clumi Ventures and DWF Labs, and they have joined forces, and their aim is to grow the UAE Web3 ecosystem. So it looks like they're aggressively working on getting more people access to Web3 services, isn't it? So I'll go ahead and share my thoughts and opinion on it. So quite a lot to cover guys in today's episode. Let's kickstart with it right away. Thank you to our sponsors for being part of the Blockchain DXB journey. Firstly, Advanced Media. Advanced Media guys is the largest distributor of professional video, photo, broadcast and cinematic equipment and accessories in the Middle East and MENA region. With over 2 decades of experience, Advanced Media is now the largest distributor in the Middle East, representing more than 100 recognizable brands, including brands such as Zeiss, DJI, Hasselblad, Red and Rode. As a matter of fact guys, the very mic that I'm recording is being sponsored by Advanced Media as well, and Advanced Media has showrooms in Saudi Arabia and services as well. Looks like they're definitely taking the Middle East by storm, and here's the beautiful thing guys, they're taking corporate social responsibility very seriously, and they're focusing on 3 P's, that is people, planet and prosperity. Now listen guys, if you do want to find out more information regarding the statement of corporate social responsibility. Check out the website, that is www.amt.tv. And here's the beautiful thing, guys. They also want to be a leader and set an example and reputation as a pioneer and member of the community. And in doing so, guys, they also have an AMT scholarship with SAE Institute in Dubai, UAE. So definitely check it out. And also, guys, Advanced Media is committed to persistently developing, organizing, and hosting training workshops, seminars, and community events that educate, inform, and familiarize consumers with new equipment and the latest technological advances. So listen, guys, do one thing. If you do want to support this channel, go to the website, that is www.amt.tv, and follow the social media channels as well. All of the details are in the show notes below. Next, Startup OI is global one-tech platform for tech. It offers global high-paying tech jobs with flexibility in working time and location, global free tech events, and tech networks to connect with global like-minded engineers. A brilliant platform to listen to the tech experts in Metaverse and to grab their insights. Now listen, all you have to do is download the app Startup OI. If you're using an Android version, go to Google Store and App Store for iOS devices. Alternatively, you can also click on the show notes below to download Startup OI. Next, guys, listen, if you're into fitness, if you're into adventure, if you want to do something wild but still want to keep your health in check, there is a new podcast in town, a podcast focusing on obstacle course race in the Middle East. The podcast is called the Race Pace Podcast. So check out the Race Pace Podcast across all leading platforms. And the Race Pace Podcast is a peer-to-peer community-driven podcast where they talk all about obstacle course race in the Middle East, from Sandstorm to Spartan Race, from Tough Mudder to Desert Warrior Challenge, and also the Government Gov Games, and quite a lot more. The podcast has interviews with athletes locally and internationally to get inside scoop on how athletes prepare for obstacle course race. In the podcast, they also talk about interesting stories on why they are motivated to do obstacle course race. And that's not all. They also plan to release 7 NFTs. And these NFTs are no ordinary. These NFTs will represent every emirate in the UAE. And listen, guys, these NFTs are going to be absolutely massive. So do one thing. Go to Spotify, go to iTunes, go to any leading podcasting platform and search for Rise in the Obstacle Course Race podcast. And finally, guys, not your keys, not your crypto. If you have dabbled with cryptocurrencies and now are seriously getting to protect your cryptocurrencies, there is no better way to protect it by using a hardware wallet. And this is where Ledger Wallet kicks in. And Ledger Wallets are hardware cryptocurrency wallets made by Ledger, a company headquartered in Paris, France. And Ledger's hardware wallets are multi-currency wallets that are used to store private keys for cryptocurrencies offline. And Ledger offers 2 hardware wallets, the Ledger Nano and Ledger Nano X wallets. They are world-class experts with extensive crypto security backgrounds. They continuously look for vulnerabilities in Ledger products in a constant effort to improve the level of security. Now, in today's world, securing these digital assets is a critical challenge, and this is where Ledger kicks in. So click the link below to buy your hardware wallet and support this podcast. It is a brilliant way to support this podcast. So what are you waiting for? The link is in the show notes below. Now, guys, since you've taken care of that, let's kickstart by looking at the global cryptocurrency market. Now, unfortunately, guys, the market sentiment is not looking good at all, and the number associated to the fear and greed index is 34, and right now the market is in fear. Now, when the market is in fear, guys, there is a very high possibility that people will be selling a lot of the Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in it, and if you're a trader, this just might be the best time to go out and buy a lot of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. A lot of Bitcoin maximalists and so-called cryptocurrency influencers, they often say that Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are at a discount at this point of time. Now, I don't want to make any investment advice, but based on the numbers are definitely not looking good. And if you look at the global cryptocurrency market, guys, since the last 24 hours, it is marginally up by 0.27%, but earlier in the day, the global cryptocurrency market did actually go below the $2 trillion mark, and right now it is back to $2.03 trillion, which is kind of the same as yesterday, isn't it? Now, if you look at the total cryptocurrency market volume, guys, since the last 24 hours, it has actually pumped up, but there is a lot of selling going on, and it is up by 35.25%, but if you look at it in terms of dollar amount, it is only at $75.57 billion. Now, what we need to do, guys, is we need to look at this 24-hour volume and compare it with the 24-hour trading volume of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, and then compare it with the volume of stable coins, and that would give us an idea as to which direction the prices would be heading towards. And unfortunately, guys, I really am not liking this number. Now, before we look at the volume of stablecoins and the 24-hour trading volume, let me quickly run through the numbers for DeFi and decentralized exchanges. Now, DeFi's volume, guys, is no surprise, is doing terrible, and the 24-hour volume is only at $3.96 billion, and DeFi as of today is accounting for only 5.24% of the total crypto market 24-hour volume, and the total value locked, guys, is at $81.30 billion. Now look, since the last few months I've been saying, I wouldn't be surprised if the total value locked does actually go below the $70 billion mark, and later on, guys, in today's episode I'll go and discuss Ethereum spot ETF numbers are not looking good at all. So if I'm an investor, I definitely would not be wanting to buy a lot of spot Ethereum ETFs in it, because it does not involve staking as a service, and because of that, and only because of that, the total value locked will be on a downtrend. Now so far as the dominance is concerned, Lido is still dominating with $24.26 billion, and decentralized exchange dominance, guys, is at 16.27%. Now look, since the last few weeks, decentralized exchanges are not doing good at all, isn't it? And based on the news that is surrounding regarding Uniswap and CFTC, we might get an understanding as to why that thing has happened, because CFTC looks like they aggressively went after Uniswap, and I was wondering, guys, as to why the volume of Uniswap is not doing that great, because on an average given day, it used to be about the $1 billion mark, and usually, guys, what happens is when the cryptocurrency tends to go down, the volume of Uniswap usually picks up pace. But since the last few weeks, the numbers of Uniswap as well as other decentralized exchanges wasn't doing that great, and as a matter of fact, even today, the volume is well below the $1 billion mark. It is only at $964.89 billion. Now, PancakeSwap, guys, is at number 2nd, and its volume is $468.78 million. Orca at number 3rd, its volume is $305.12 million. Dodo, guys, is at number 4th, its volume is $301.68 million, and Aerodrome is at number 5th. Its volume is $260.06 million. Now let me quickly run through the volume of stable coins, and unfortunately, guys, I hate saying this, the numbers are definitely not looking great. According to me, guys, for the numbers of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency to be on an uptrend, this number should have been somewhere between the $100 to $140 billion mark, to be honest, because look, guys, when you talk about the market cap, only the market cap of Tether is well over the $100 billion mark, isn't it? And when you talk about stable coins, these coins should be transacted more than once, maybe twice, maybe even 3 or 4 times in a day. So keeping all this thing in mind, guys, the numbers are definitely not great, and stable coins as of today is accounting for 92.86% of the total crypto market 24-hour volume. And check this out, guys, Tether USDT's volume is only at $58.15 billion. I would have honestly been content if, let's say, Tether USDT's volume was around the $80 billion mark. That would actually mean that people are parking a lot of the cryptocurrencies onto stable coins. Unfortunately, that is not happening, isn't it? And the reason why that thing is happening, guys, is because a lot of reports are being published this particular week, and I'll go ahead and give out in-depth information as to what those reports are. Now, if you look at the volume of Circle USDC, guys, which is at number 2nd, it is at $6.56 billion. Followed by FDUSD, its volume is $4.83 billion. Now, if you look at the market cap of Bitcoin and Ethereum, it is pretty much the same as yesterday. Bitcoin's market cap is at $1.14 trillion. Now, the market cap has actually pumped up since the last few hours. Earlier today, there was a very high possibility that the market cap of Ethereum would actually go below the $1 trillion mark. Thankfully, that thing did not happen, but the market cap of Ethereum, guys, is still below the $300 million mark. Now, look, as all this thing being said, on the 18th of this month, Federal Chair Jerome Powell will be making a decision to reduce the interest rate, and I'm pretty much sure based on that announcement, the prices of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies will be pumping up, but this is definitely not financial advice, and like I always say, guys, the cryptocurrency world is absolutely wild and crazy, isn't it? And all price predictions are 100% right 50% of the time. Now let me quickly run to the 24-hour trading volume, because Bitcoin's 24-hour trading volume is actually pumped up, and today it is at $36.07 billion. And clearly, guys, based on the number, it says that a lot of them are actually selling a lot of the Bitcoin and converting that into fiat currency. That is definitely unfortunate, and the same thing is happening with Ethereum as well, and its 24-hour trading volume is $17.04 billion. Now, if you look at the dominance of Bitcoin, guys, it is at 56.46%, whereas Ethereum's dominance is 14.60%. Now, what I want to do next, guys, is I want to run through the total value locked across all chains, and look, guys, this number is definitely going to be on a downtrend. Now the number one cause is no surprise is Ethereum, and the total value locked is $46.13 billion. Now the second one is Tron, and the total value locked is $7.95 billion. The third one is Solana, guys, and the total value locked is $4.78 billion. Binance BNB chain is at number 4th, and $4.19 billion is locked in this protocol. And so far as Arbitrum is concerned, the total value locked is $2.63 billion. Now what I want to do next, guys, is I want to go ahead and run through some numbers that talks about the US international trade in goods and services for July, but this information was just released on the 4th of September. Now a similar report, guys, will actually be published on the 8th of October. So what I'd really recommend you to do is definitely keep an eye on when this report is published, because the US elections is coming up as well, isn't it? So I'm pretty much sure this data is definitely going to have a massive impact, keeping in mind the US elections. So what I want to do is, I want to very briefly run through these numbers so you guys get an understanding as to what is happening at the macro level, and then I'll go ahead and discuss how and why this news impacts the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Now look, guys, this particular report is actually published by the US Census Bureau and the US Bureau of Economic Analysis. Now what that number actually states is that the deficit is actually pumped up, and it is pumped up by 7.9% from June of 2024, and it is at $78.8 billion. Now so far as exports is concerned, it is actually up by 0.5% from June of 2024, and it is at $266.6 billion. Now so far as imports is concerned, it is at $345.4 billion, and it is up by 2.1% from June of 2024. So this number, guys, is for the month of July, and this data compares the matrix with that of the month of June. It is a bit late to go out and get this information, isn't it? Now going back to the report, guys, so far as the goods and service deficit is concerned, what that report states is that the US goods and service deficit has widened by $5.8 billion in July, reaching to a staggering $78.8 billion, and this increase, guys, is primarily driven by a large goods deficit and a slightly reduced service surplus. Now regarding the goods deficit, guys, it actually states that it is up by $5.6 billion, and it has reached $103.1 billion. And so far service surplus is concerned, it is actually decreased by $0.2 billion, and it has reached an amount of $24.3 billion year to date. Now look, guys, these numbers directly and indirectly impact the prices of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, isn't it? And so far as the deficit is concerned, it is actually up by $36.2 billion, and in terms of percentage, it is 7.7%, exactly as the same period going back to 2023. Now so far as exports is concerned, guys, what this report actually states that it has actually increased by $65.9 billion, and from a percentage point of view, it is at 3.7%, but so far as imports is concerned, it is actually increased by $102.1 billion, that is about 4.5%. Now what that report does is, guys, it takes 3-month moving averages, and the average goods and service deficit has actually increased by $1.3 billion to $75.5 billion for the 3 months ending in July. Now this report, guys, also got inputs to different sectors as well. I won't go ahead and read out the numbers regarding each sectors, it would be extremely boring, isn't it? But so far as the average exports is concerned, it is actually up by $1.4 billion, and it has reached $264.2 billion, and average import, guys, is up by $2.7 billion, and it has reached $339.9 billion, and if you look at it year-over-year comparison, the deficit has actually increased by $10.5 billion from the same period in 2023. Now look, guys, these numbers are definitely not looking good for the Biden administration, isn't it? Because the total exports has actually increased by only $1.3 billion, and it has reached $266.6 billion. Now what is really interesting to note, guys, is this particular report compares the United States of America's information with other countries like China, European Union, Mexico as well. Now what I really liked about this particular report, guys, is it does provide country-specific trade deficits, and it does it in 2 separate ways. It shows you the top deficits as well as top surpluses. So I'm just going to read out the top 3 deficits and the top 3 surpluses, and then we'll go ahead and discuss how this news impacts the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Now so far as the top deficit is concerned, China is leading the pack, and it is at $27.2 billion, and the amount is actually up by $4.9 billion from June. And European Union, guys, it is at a staggering $18.4 billion, followed by Mexico at $13.6 billion. Now so far surplus is concerned, Netherlands data is at $4.7 billion, and South and Central America is at $4.2 billion, followed by Hong Kong, guys, it is at $1.8 billion. Now the big question, guys, is how does this data impact the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency? Now look, guys, the US Census Bureau and the US Bureau of Economic Analysis did actually make the announcement yesterday that the goods and service deficit was $78.8 billion in July, which was actually up by $5.8 billion from $73 billion in June, isn't it? And this growing trade deficit, where the US is importing more than it is exporting, can have ripple effects on the economy, which indirectly impacts the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, isn't it? Now what happens, guys, is the biggest impact is that on the US dollar, and it's really important to note, guys, that a rising trade deficit can actually weaken the US dollar, because as more dollars are spent on imports than are earned from exports, a weaker dollar can increase demand for assets perceived as store of value, and this is where Bitcoin kicks in, isn't it? And this particular report could actually mean that in the near future the prices of Bitcoin will actually appreciate. Now look, guys, there is inflation and interest rate, which is the massive news, isn't it? And based on the information from this report, higher import volumes, especially when the dollar is weaker, can actually contribute to rising prices, potentially fueling inflation. And listen to this, guys, if inflation rises, the Federal Reserve might increase interest rates, affecting borrowing costs and economic growth. And it's needless to say, guys, high interest rates could actually make traditional investments more attractive compared to cryptocurrencies, isn't it? And this could potentially put a downward pressure on Bitcoin prices. Now, so far as bond markets is concerned, rising inflation concerns may actually drive up yields on US Treasury bonds, and investors who are seeking better returns might actually shift from risky assets like cryptocurrencies to bonds, and this would actually lead to volatility in the cryptocurrency market. Now, so far stock market is concerned, guys, companies that rely on imports may face higher costs, which can actually squeeze the profit margin. Exporters, guys, however, could benefit from a weaker dollar, and this would actually boost their sales and profits. And these dynamics can influence investor sentiment towards Bitcoin, as investors often tend to move in and out of cryptocurrencies based on the broader market outlook, isn't it? Now it's really important to note, guys, that sectors such as technology and industries, which export heavily, might actually see gains, while consumer good companies dependent on import might actually suffer. And this sector rotation can actually impact the price of Bitcoin both in a positive as well as in a negative way. But it's really important to note, guys, the investor sentiment is really critical, isn't it? And a growing trade deficit can actually signal economic challenges, leading to increased market volatility. And usually in such times, investors may seek out Bitcoin as a hedge against uncertainty, potentially driving its prices to a completely new high as well. And this is precisely what Bitcoin maximalists have been talking about, isn't it? Now it's also important to note, guys, persistent trade deficit might lead to new trade policies, including tariffs or other protectionist measures, and these policies could affect global supply, influencing market conditions and Bitcoin's role as a global decentralized asset. Now look, guys, with US elections coming up, we know that President Trump is definitely a massive fan of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, isn't it? The left-leaning administration, they're definitely not fans of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. They rather want to go and import central bank digital currency. So look, with US elections coming up, this data and the data that is going to be released on 8th of October is extremely crucial, isn't it? So what I'd really recommend you to do is, guys, rather than listening to mainstream media, look at the information from the first source. And the only place to look at this information, guys, is the US Census Bureau. Please start to look at information only from this source. Now, the other thing that I want you to touch base, guys, is regarding the economic growth, because a large trade deficit subtracts from GDP, and this signals slow economic growth. And if the US economy slows down, there could be increased interest in alternative assets like Bitcoin, which might be seen as a safe haven during economic downturns. So look, guys, the data regarding the trade deficits can influence Bitcoin prices as investors react to broader economic implications, and a weak US dollar and rising inflation could lead to increased demand for Bitcoin as a hedge against fiat currency devaluation. Conversely, guys, if rising interest rates and bond yields make traditional assets more attractive, Bitcoin prices could actually go down, isn't it? So we are in a tricky situation, but based on the number, guys, unfortunately, I hate saying this, the US economy with the left-leaning administration is not doing that great. So based on the information, let's say 6 to 8 months from now, the prices of Bitcoin should be pumping up to new heights, isn't it? So let me know, guys, if you agree to my assessment or disagree to it. And if you do have any alternative thought, mention them in the comments below. Now, guys, let's look at the king of all kings, that is Bitcoin. And unfortunately, guys, the prices of Bitcoin are not doing good at all. As a matter of fact, guys, earlier today, the market cap of Bitcoin was on the verge of going below the $1 trillion mark. Thankfully, that thing did not happen, and the price of Bitcoin is at $58,051. and since the last 24 hours it is up by 2.27%, but since the last 7 days it is down by 1.61%. Ethereum guys at $2,460, and since the last 24 hours it is up by 3.75%. Since the last 7 days it is down by 2.58%. Binance BNB Coin guys is at $510, and since the last 24 hours it is down by 0.21%. Since the last 7 days it is down by 4.89%. Now look guys, it's really important to note that today, that is on the 5th of September, ADP employment, initial jobless claims, PMI services and ISM services will be out. And last time this thing happened guys, the entire world collapses in it, and so far as the cryptocurrency market is concerned, the prices of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies did actually go down. And I do have a standalone episode guys that is called as Kamala Crash, and I released it on the 5th of August, so please feel free to go and check it out. And on Friday guys, employment report, employment rate, hourly wages, a New York federal president as well as the federal government will be speaking as well, and those news guys will definitely impact the prices not just of cryptocurrencies but of the stock market as well. So this week is really crucial, isn't it? Now what I'm going to be doing guys is at 10 a.m. Gulf Standard Time I will be going live via LinkedIn with a good friend of mine that is called as Marcus Shantita, and we usually tend to go live every Thursdays at 10 a.m. Gulf Standard Time. And we'll definitely go out and talk more in detail regarding the reports, and we'll also take a deep dive into what is going on in the cryptocurrency and blockchain world since the last week. So please feel free to go and check it out. And in case you missed it guys, I will release an audio version explaining what we discussed as well. Now guys, let's go and discuss a massive drama regarding Uniswap, and the US commodity future trading guys has fined Uniswap Labs for $175,000 for allegedly offering illegal leverage or marginal retail commodity transaction in digital assets. Now the official charges guys is in the show notes below, and the order required Uniswap Labs to pay $175,000 civil monetary penalty and to cease and desist from violating the Commodity Exchange Act as charged. Now let me do one thing guys, let me give you some basic level information regarding the case, because according to CFTC, that is US Commodity Future Trading, Uniswap Labs contributed to the development and deployed version of a blockchain-based digital asset protocol that offered to non-eligible contract participants and institutional users in the United States and brought the ability to trade digital assets through use of Ethereum blockchain. Now, according to the official charges, the protocol allowed users to create and trade with liquidity pools, which consisted of matched pairs of digital assets that are valued against each other. Now, here's the interesting to note, guys. In order to facilitate access to protocol, Uniswap Labs developed and maintained a web interface that made it available to users, and through the interface, users could trade in hundreds of liquidity pools on the protocol, and among the digital assets traded on the protocol and through interface were a limited number of leverage tokens, which provided users with leverage exposure to digital assets such as Ethereum and Bitcoin. Now, the order finds these leverage tokens are leveraged or margin commodity transactions that did not result in actual delivery within 28 days and therefore cannot be offered to non-eligible contract participants only on a board of trade that has been designated or registered by the CFTC as a contract market, which Uniswap Labs was not. And as stated in the order, guys, the US Commodity Future Trading Commission recognizes Uniswap's substantial cooperation with the Division of Enforcement Investigation on this matter, and because of that they reduced the civil monetary penalty. Now look, guys, what is a bit interesting is the case was settled without Uniswap admitting nor denying the charges, and Uniswap's chief legal officer, that is Catherine Minarek, emphasized their focus on advancing DeFi. Now it's really important to note, guys, this isn't Uniswap's first regulatory challenge, because in April of this year, the US Security and Exchange Commission did actually issue a Wells notice in it, and Uniswap did actually contest that in May, and Uniswap is actually arguing if the SEC has jurisdiction over it. Now look, guys, unfortunately this is not looking good for Uniswap, isn't it? And looks like because of that, since the last 2 weeks, the trading volume in Uniswap was ridiculously less, isn't it? Definitely makes some sense. Now, guys, let's go and discuss some unfortunate news regarding Ethereum. And Ethereum spot ETF, guys, looks like it is turning out to be a failure. And Ethereum ETFs saw a staggering $476 million out in the first 30 days after the launch, which did actually take place on the 23rd of July. Now, it's really important to note, guys, that this outflow was driven by unlocking of assets in Grayscale's Ethereum Trust following its conversion to an ETF, isn't it? And the ET's asset dropped from $10 billion to $4.7 billion, with some funding shifting to Grayscale's mini trust, which I believe currently is holding $924 million at this point of time. Now, despite the rough start, guys, Bloomberg analyst, that is Eric Balcones, does actually expect outflows to stabilize pretty soon. Now, so far as Grayscale is concerned, they currently manage two large Ethereum ETFs, with BlackRock and Fidelity trading behind them. Now, look, guys, one of the reasons why there's so much of outflow, because investors, if they were to go and buy the spot Ethereum ETF, they do not get any benefits by staking them, isn't it? So if I'm an investor, I may as well buy the actual Ethereum, and then I can go and put that funds for staking, and by doing that, I'll go and earn more Ethereum, isn't it? Basic common sense in my opinion. And that is precisely the reason why, guys, I do feel that the total value locked, particularly with Ethereum and other blockchain protocol, will be going on a downtrend. Now, it's really important to note, guys, in 2023, on an average given day, the total value locked used to hover somewhere between the $30 to $40 billion mark. The only reason why the total value lock pumped up, because investors were actually anticipating that a spot Ethereum trading will include staking as a service as well. Unfortunately, it looks like that is not the case. Now let me go ahead and touch base on some negative news, and this is to do with Ethereum as well as other layer 1 protocols. And there is an interesting report which is published by Matrix, and the researchers are Tenny Wad and Matthias Andrade, and they've actually revealed that while layer 1 blockchain started really strong in 2024, they have lost a lot of momentum. And according to the report, they have seen a significant drop in on-chain activity for Ethereum, Solana as well as Bitcoin year to date, and most layer 1 tokens have dropped below the 50% mark, as well as the transaction volume has been going down as well. Now regarding Ethereum, guys, the total fees has actually decreased to $1.1 million, and so far Solana is concerned, it is only at $724,000, and regarding Bitcoin, it is only at $433,000. Now what I'd really recommend you to do is, guys, in the show notes below there is a detailed report, and the report states how high throughput network like Solana, which typically processes more frequent, low value transactions, they have seen a similar downturn as well. Definitely interesting report in my opinion. Now guys, let me go ahead and discuss an interesting news, and this is all the way from Switzerland, and Switzerland's fourth largest bank, that is ZKB or ZKB, now offers Bitcoin and Ethereum trading and custody service, and they're doing that via the ZKB banking and ZKB mobile banking. Now it's really important to note, guys, with over $290 billion in assets, ZKB serves retail, corporate and institutional clients as well, and since September of this year, clients can buy, sell and securely store cryptocurrencies through the bank. And Alexandra Skriba, the head of institutional clients and multinational, discussed the new offering and its benefits, and the official link is in the show notes below. But look, guys, it's really important to note, not your keys, not your crypto. So looks like ZKB Bank, they're definitely offering these services, but there is a very high possibility they could go ahead and take all of your cryptocurrencies as well. And that is one of the reasons why it is so critical to understand the Bitcoin white paper. And Satoshi Nakamoto, guys, his invention with Bitcoin was peer-to-peer electronic cash system without the need for central intermediary or entity, isn't it? These are some of the basics we need to understand when you're talking about Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies. Now, guys, let me go ahead and touch base on a really interesting article which is published by CoinDesk, and this is more connected to Metaverse. Now, the big question, guys, is the Metaverse dead? Now, as much as I like Metaverse, guys, I hate saying this. When we talk about Metaverse, the new user experience has to go ahead and touch all of our five senses. We can't just replicate what we are doing in the current world in the Metaverse until and unless the new experience is 10 times better than what we are currently experiencing. I do feel that Metaverse is definitely heading towards disaster. But regarding this article, guys, what Sandbox states that India is leading so far as creators of Metaverse is concerned, and India has more than 66,000 creators on the Metaverse platform. Now here's the interesting thing to note, guys. They are comparing this with US, and so far as the creators of US is concerned, it is at 59,989. But look, guys, you also need to look at the population in India, and you also need to look at the population in US, isn't it? Percentage-wise, these numbers are absolutely dreadful for India. Now, so far as Brazil is concerned, the number of creators are 25,335. Now, look, guys, personally, I've used Sandbox, and I hate saying this, the user experience is not 10 times better. It is actually going back to 1980s, and I do feel that people who are building on Sandbox or even Decentraland, they're definitely heading towards a failure. Now, regarding this news, guys, Sandbox did actually make some investment going back to 2023, and there are projects with Indian venture that is BharatBox as well. And this BharatBox, guys, is actually backed by CoinDCX as well, and at this point of time, CoinDCX, they have 16 million users. Now, all this thing being said, guys, when you talk about metaverse, you can't just replicate what you're currently experiencing. The new user experience has to be 10 times better than what we are currently experiencing. So just replicating a video, let's say from YouTube, and putting it onto metaverse will just not cut it. That is my honest thought. So these were the newscasts on the cryptocurrency, blockchain, and metaverse. Now let's look at two news from Dubai, UAE, and the Middle East. And the first newscast is connected to artificial intelligence, and this is from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and Exotel. They are floating an all-new local cloud for CX and AI solutions. So let me go ahead and give out more information regarding this. Because the platform integrates AI-powered customer engagement with Saudi Arabia's first local CX cloud, and the expansion strengthens Exotel's presence in Middle East, aligning with the regional digital transformation. And Shivakumar Ganesan, who is a co-founder and CEO, has emphasized this move as a key part of Exotel's global geostrategy, and the launch, guys, aims to empower enterprises with local tailored technologies for operational excellence. And Exotel Engage X 2024 will debut in Riyadh, introducing a new platform called as Ameo. And Ameo by Exotel, guys, features advanced AI and local cloud solutions to enhance customer engagement, and the platform offers a unified customer experience across marketing, sales, and support channels as well. And Exotel's local telephony integration provides a seamless communication infrastructure for contact center software, and the new CX cloud ensures compliance with Saudi Arabia's Monetary Authority data residency regulations, supported by Oracle and Mobile. And the platform, guys, is designed to be secure and scalable for businesses in Saudi Arabia, and the AI-powered engagement platform aims to drive operational efficiency and innovation. Now, looks like this could definitely be a game changer, and I do feel, guys, a lot of businesses will definitely adopt this, isn't it? And Exotel's expansion plan aligns with Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030, focusing on digital transformation and AI growth, and the goal is to contribute to Kingdom's target of AI, adding over $135 billion to the economy by 2030. And Sachin Bhatia, co-founder and CGO, highlights the significance of personalized intelligence interactions, and Exotel, locally known as Ameo, leverages 8 years of success in Middle East for this launch. Now, this platform enhances customer experiences for enterprises across Saudi Arabia, and Exotel's recent acquisition of Ameo and Cogno have strengthened its capability in AI-driven customer engagement. Definitely positive news in my opinion. Now look, so far Saudi Arabia is concerned, there's a lot of opportunity, particularly in the artificial intelligence sector, isn't it? Definitely a brilliant move. Now, guys, let's go and discuss another massive news. And looks like Lumi Ventures and DWF Labs, they want to grow UAE Web3 ecosystem. So let me go ahead and give out more information regarding this. Because Lumi Ventures and DWF Lab, they have formed a partnership to grow the Web3 ecosystem in UAE. And Lumi Ventures, guys, is the first regulated Web3 venture capital and fund manager that is based in Abu Dhabi. And DWF Labs is a prominent Web3 investor and market maker, and they are recognized for their success in Asia. Now, this partnership, guys, aligns with Abu Dhabi Economic Vision 2030, that is focusing on advancing the Web3 and digital asset landscape in the UAE. And Lumi Ventures brings regional Web3 expertise and supports project transitioning to the UAE. And DWF Lab, guys, they offer market making and investment capabilities and was recognized by Binance for 5 years of VIB trading. Now, this collaboration aims to accelerate digital transformation and foster Web3 ecosystem in the UAE. And Lumi Ventures' local network and dedication to the UAE's digital asset vision complement DWF Labs' experience in Asia. And Lumi Ventures, guys, will support DWF Labs' portfolio companies in the expansion into the UAE market. And this partnership includes strategic advisory services for companies expanding into the UAE, covering regulatory compliance, fundraising, and business development. And DWF Labs will provide liquidity and capital resources to Lumi Ventures portfolio companies, enabling effective scaling in the UAE's digital asset market. And DWF Labs, guys, will facilitate over-the-counter deals, offering secure and efficient trading solutions for large volume of digital assets. Definitely a brilliant move, isn't it? And DWF Labs will soon launch a full-scale options platform for Lumi Venture clients, providing various levels of yields and limited risk. And starting in 2024, guys, the partnership will launch educational initiatives in the UAE, including workshops and Web3 strategies, networking, and regulatory requirements, and the collaboration aims to empower both new entrants and established institutions to thrive in the UAE's dynamic Web3 landscape. And Andre Graichi, the managing partner at DWF Labs, has emphasized the partnership's role in driving digital transformation in the UAE, and the partnership, guys, is well positioned to contribute to UAE's goal of becoming a leading global blockchain hub. Both Gloomy Ventures and DWF Labs are committed to fostering innovation and accelerating Web3 adoption across the MENA region. Definitely brilliant news in my opinion. Now look, so far as artificial intelligence is concerned, so far as cryptocurrency, blockchain, or even metaverse is concerned, United Arab Emirates is definitely the place to be, isn't it? So brilliant news in my opinion. So these were the newscasts on the cryptocurrency, blockchain, and artificial intelligence world from Blockchain DXB. In case if you like listening to this podcast, please click on the follow button, give it a 5-star rating, and share the word across. Now for the next few minutes is going to be an Ask Me Anything series, where you listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and metaverse. So let's kick start with the Ask Me Anything series. Hey everyone, it's Josh from Blockchain DXB. You're listening to the Ask Me Anything series, where you listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and metaverse. I have a question by Sherry who asks, how do you think the recent Ethereum ETF outflows will impact the DeFi ecosystem? Now look, Sherry, so far as DeFi is concerned, according to me, it is pretty much dead. But so far as, let's say, Ethereum is concerned, unless there is a ChatGPT moment in the DeFi world, only then I'll see a resurgence so far as DeFi is concerned. And I've mentioned this thing, Sherry, in the past as well. After the whole ICO era, the next narrative that was built up was decentralized finance, but the numbers are definitely not looking good at all. But regarding your question regarding Ethereum outflows, I do strongly feel that outflows from Ethereum ETF might actually reduce overall liquidity in the market, and since DeFi platforms rely heavily on Ethereum liquidity, let's say for borrowing, lending, and staking, this reduction could actually tighten the liquidity pool for these activities, and if these large outflows exert downward pressure on Ethereum price, it will cause a ripple effect on DeFi protocol that Ethereum uses as collateral, and liquidations could actually increase, and that would eventually lead to more volatility in the DeFi space in my opinion. But I do feel in the short term, DeFi projects might experience a drop in user activity as well as the total value locked, and that is exactly what I've been saying. And also the total value locked will actually go down, especially as investors become more risk averse during market downturns that are linked to Ethereum outflows, isn't it? But on the flip side, Sherry, I do feel that a reduced Ethereum exposure on ETFs might actually push investors to seek yield opportunities directly within the DeFi ecosystem, where they can interact with Ethereum without intermediaries. But look, Sherry, I do feel a slowdown in Ethereum inflows could signal a reduction in institutional confidence in Ethereum, isn't it? And that could actually slow down the DeFi adoption by more conservative investors who do actually rely on traditional financial products for exposure, isn't it? Definitely an interesting question. And that's about all, guys, from the Ask Me Anything series from Blockchain DXB. In case if you like listening to this podcast, please click on the follow button, give it a 5-star rating, and share the word across. Remember, Monday to Thursdays, 8 a.m. to 8:30 a.m., we have Crypto with Coffee at 8, where we cover top news and information pertaining to the price of cryptocurrencies, some major breaking news, occasionally short and sweet news as well, news that has an impact in the cryptocurrency world. The other two news and information is related to the UAE and the Middle East, from the cryptocurrency, blockchain, and now artificial intelligence world as well. And what you're listening to right now is the Ask Me Anything series, where your listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and metaverse. So thanks so much for listening, guys, and have a nice one. Bye-bye.